What's going on, guys? It's your boy Selassie from High Free Motors. I just want to talk about the accident that I was involved in March 14th, 2019. Just got back to Dallas, going down west on the expressway, and I was struck on my left side by another motorcyclist. And from there I went down. I just really want to talk about, a few things as far as safety, equipment, wearing, cleaning up the wound and maintaining the wound, and also what to do in those type of predicaments, because I heard stuff from other people and then I just did what I saw as far as GP riders. First thing I'm going to start with is the safety gear, which is most important because that's really what saved my life. Starting with the helmet, when I was in the accident, when he hit me on the left side, my handlebars turned and I went straight down from my elbow, hip to head. So I got a mark on my helmet, broke the shield, messed up my Cena, and also took off the front of my GoPro. On my jacket, now I had just got this jacket from Lusso Leather. It took 12 weeks to make this custom jacket. They're a really good company, and I'm going to show you why, because this wasn't just a minor accident. So on the jacket, you can tell that this is where I landed. It split my coat open. I got scrapes all the way down the arm. Pretty much took off the whole name on the part. I got my back scraped up on that side, even the back where my head, the speed bump is. On the other side, as you can see. Now this coat is professional, high quality, leather. So this wasn't no cheap, investment. What I will say about this is it really saved me having this speed bump on the back, because for the simple fact that when I went down, my head didn't snap. Go ahead, you can turn it up. What really helped me was the speed hump in the back. When my head hit the ground, I didn't get the full whiplash motion because of this protecting my head. I also was wearing a sweatshirt underneath this coat, and the impact was so hard that even through my padding, I still busted my sweatshirt in a few spots. I ended up getting road rash on top of my elbow and on my forearm. I don't really consider it road rash because it was inside here, so it really didn't hit the road, but it left scrapes. Next, I'm going to go down to my boots. This is very important because when I went down on the left side, my foot was underneath the bike, and when I tumbled again, when I did my first flip, my ankle, I don't know where it was at, but it was in a bad spot. I don't know where it was at, but I know it twisted really bad. So when I ended up, after the accident, when I slid, I was in the right lane, and I slid from the right lane all the way to the left lane, probably about 20 yards. My ankle, I literally couldn't stand on my ankle at all. Now imagine if I didn't have these boots on, I wouldn't be able to walk. My foot would have been broken. Literally twisted my whole foot. As you can see, it even tore a hole in the boot, knocked off the scraper. So boots are really important as far as riding. My friend that actually was in the accident with me had tennis shoes on. He broke his foot, shoes, socks, everything came off. So make sure you get that. Another thing is gloves. This was really important, and how I made it through without actually scraping any of my skin off my hand. I mean, they were really bruised. You can still see some of the inflammation, but it literally tore a hole in my gloves. When I went down, I'm not sure if I put my hand down. I really don't remember that part. I mean, I remember a lot of it, but I don't remember that specific spot, but you can tell my hands rubbed against the ground for a second. I also had my pistol on me. This was on the right side of me in my pants, and this actually saved me from getting road rash as well. When I was sliding this carbon fiber piece, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it grinded down a lot. Even my gun has grazed and ground marks on it. But it held up. It actually saved me from getting road rash. I'm not saying go ride with a gun because of that, but it saved my ass. And it held up. This company's really good. I actually forget the name, but it's really, really, really good. And Glock stayed up. The gun came out. It was down the street. You know, camera still works, still slides. I just need to clean it. So Glock is a really good company. Now, when the accident happened, you know, plenty of people had told me, a friend of mine said when he got into an accident, you just let it happen. You don't try to fight it. You just accept the fact that this is happening. And then another thing that I took from was watching MotoGP. When they get into accidents, they go on their back, they tuck their arms and their knees, you know what I'm saying? So when I went down, I went like this, I hit the ground. My first thought was, this is happening, just let it go. Like, I wasn't even going to try to fight it at all. When I initially hit the ground, it's a funny thought in my head, as weird as it is, I don't know, it's kind of, I guess I was cocky, but I was like, this isn't so bad. Which, I was really wrong, because literally milliseconds after that is when I did a tumble. So when I tumbled, I tried to keep my knees together and I blacked out. So from this point on, I really don't know until I woke back up sliding and from the left lane to where I stopped. At that point, I was on my back and I had my arms together and I did the tuck motion. So that's where most of the grinding on my speed hump came from. They also tell you in riding school, when an accident happens, you got like 6 seconds to get off the road. So in the midst of me trying to get myself off the road, the guy that hit me, I don't know how, but his adrenaline was up. He came and ran to me afterwards, and, you know, to see if I was okay. And it's just crazy because, like, you know, we were just in a major accident. Like, I went 20 yards, he probably went another 10, 20 yards, and then our bikes were probably 50 yards. So it was just crazy. At that point, you want to just stay on the ground. I'm stubborn. I wanted to move around because laying there, I felt the parts of my body that were really injured. So my hip was bruised really bad. I got road rash on my knee, as you can see. My bone was bruised in this area. My foot was bruised, bone bruised. I had both sprained ankles, the road rash, and then later finding out through my chiropractor MRIs that my neck is damaged. So, those are just a few things that helped me get through my accident. Now, as far as flashbacks, I don't know what to say about that because I remember a lot of it, and, you know, it just happens. You know, you just gotta tough through it. I hear these people say, I hear it all the time, bike life ain't for everybody, and shit. If you get up after something like that, you know, you're about that life. I'm gonna move on over to, after this accident happens, let's just say you don't go to the hospital because whatever reason. If you're like me, you just don't go to the hospital. First thing you want to do is clean the wound as best as possible. I know it hurts. I know by the time you even get to wherever you're going and finally sit down, your adrenaline's starting to come down, so you're starting to feel a lot more stuff. Me, what happened was I actually didn't even know I had road rash until I got back to the studio. My pants were ripped up, you know, the paramedics looked at it, I looked at it and seen nothing. I was sitting on the couch after my friend Joshua had to, like, literally carry me in on his back because I couldn't put no weight on this ankle at all. So I'm sitting down and I pull my pant leg over and I see a gush of blood go down my leg. I was like, what the hell was that? So I cut my pant leg and lo and behold, there's this. So I got sick. I don't like seeing myself bleed. So immediately I'm like, oh God. Everybody else, you know, thank God I had people around me. You know what I mean? Make sure you got good company because this is when the shit comes in handy. First thing you're going to want to do is use your peroxide and try to clean up the wound as best as possible with some wound wash. There's saline solution. Hold it up for the camera. You can go to CVS and pretty much get that stuff. Make sure you clean out the wound as best as possible. There's going to be like black marks, there might be street debris, rocks, whatever. The wound wash is actually going to help pull that stuff up. It has like, it's a jet stream, so you don't have to like squeeze on it really hard, but you can take gentle squeezes and it's going to shoot the debris out. You can also use what the hospital gets. They get like this little foam brush and it gets all that stuff out of there. Clean that out. I would suggest getting I don't have any of this gauze wrap, but the gauze wrap that you just wrap around your leg, simply because once you put that over your leg with some antibiotic ointment, after you then cleaned it all up and you're ready to, you know, cover it up the wound, when you take that back off the first time, it's going to help pull the debris off with it. So once you unravel it, it's going to be pulling that off. Then next, to maintain keeping it clean. After that first day, if you need it the second day, use peroxide again. Just be really light with it. Don't use it a lot. The color you want to stay away from is a really bright red color. That's when you know it's infected. That you're probably not going to see signs of that early on, but it may take a few hours to the next day you'll start noticing signs, because then you'll start seeing pus and stuff like that coming out. You're also going to want to take some ibuprofen for the inflammation. After that next day, take that bandage off. From now on, you're going to want to start using non-stick pads. I promise you, if you use any of the pads, the adhesive ones, the Band-Aid versions, it's gonna hurt. When you pull that off, all that fresh skin that was there, all the stuff that was stuck there, it's gonna pull it off really bad. And then on top of that, if you read up, they tell you to use peroxide to get it off, which is the worst idea because your skin is trying to heal itself. So it's killing all the fresh skin that you're building up on your leg, wherever, arm, etc. So non-stick pads, make sure you use antibiotic ointment on there. I also am a fan of natural stuff, so I use virgin coconut oil. It's in these jars. You can get this at CVS. This is Spectrum. Coconut oil is really good, anti-inflammatory. It's good for killing bacteria. It's just really good for natural, and it's really good for your skin on top of just wounds and stuff like that. I'm not saying put a whole bunch on there. Just whenever you get your antibiotic ointment on there, just put some around the wound, and then it'll melt, and then it can go into the skin. And what happens with road rash is it heals from the outside in. So if you're putting stuff like this on the outside, you're helping generate good blood cells and stuff like that for it to help with the wound. Let's see what else. Now, as far as me, I don't like wrapping my leg up all the time. I really hate things wrapped up on my wounds. I feel like, to me, it just irritates it. So what I do is simply keep antibiotic ointment on it at all times. You got to keep the wound wet. I'm not saying wet as in water wet. You don't want to submerge your leg and actually keep it soaked. You actually want to make sure the antibiotic ointment is on there, or NEOSPORIN, whatever you prefer. But make sure it's covering the whole wound, and that's what's going to help regenerate. It's going to pull out some. There's stuff that's going to come out. It's not pus. It is a yellow form, but it's not pus. It's really actually your body rejecting all of the debris and bacteria that's inside the wound. And then you'll see signs of blood that will come up too. Fresh blood is kind of really a good thing, because that's when you know that your blood cells and stuff like that is regenerating. Again, they're going to go from the outside in. So when you see white around the outside of your wound, that's letting you know that it's doing its job. If you like to keep it wrapped, keep it wrapped. If you're going outside all the time, don't let the sun hit it, because the sun, you have no melon there, so it's going to burn. And you don't want your wound to be burned and going through that. Other than that, man, it's been a long journey. The last 2 weeks, I've had to see a chiropractor. I've had to go get X-rays, MRIs done. Insurance is crazy, so I suggest getting a lawyer, because if, you know, I'm not going to get too far into my business, but you should get a lawyer. Make sure you take the precautions that you need medically to make sure that nothing is broken and starts to heal back wrong, because that's going to make things worse in the long run. I want to continue to keep riding. I know I'm stubborn and I'll work through it, but I did take the right precautions to go get everything done. So now I'm just kind of rehabilitating, you know, getting my knee bending. Even though it's trying to grow back, I'm trying to, you know, make sure that I still have motion in my leg, that it doesn't get stiff. It's been a while. I'm still using the crutches to get around, because I'm not really supposed to be putting a whole bunch of pressure on this leg. Thank God this one, it's still sore, but I actually can walk on it, so I'm still mobile as far as that goes. That concludes. I will actually gonna, you know, show you guys some stuff at the doctor so you can look at the x-rays and MRIs. As far as my neck goes, it's crazy, but I'm not worried about it. My chiropractor, Dr. Conley, is definitely going to hook it up. He is a great chiropractor in Dallas. You guys should check him out if you ever get in an accident. Do not hesitate. He has a lawyer on standby. Make sure you hit up Lusso Leather for your safety leather jackets. They got full gear, just pants, just jacket, whatever you want to do, you can customize it. It's fully the best quality you're going to get, I promise you, at a really good price too, and it's made in Canada, so shout out to the Canadians. Other than that, guys, stay safe, ride, and enjoy life.